Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who has popped in because you are curious about what this is or you have got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I am Chatty. This is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I have unintentionally done two parts to this video where I will be chatting away madly about Zodiac recommendations for middle grade readers. So if you have missed my first video, please go and see here where I explain a little bit more about my inspiration for doing this. But I'm just going to go crack on. And I suppose it kind of works anyway because I've done half an hour with the first 6 star signs, and now I'm going to do another maybe half an hour with the second 6 star signs, but I'm doing it in a backwards order. So I will put in the video which star signs I cover in which section. So if you are here, I don't want that one. So in this video, I will be talking about recommendations for Virgos, Leos, Cancers, Geminis, Tauruses, and Aries. So we're going to start off with the Virgos, and the Virgos are mainly driven by I analyze. So they are skillful and support others in life is the kind of the main thing around Virgos. So Virgos are precise, dutiful, service-orientated, and efficient. But they can also be critical, judgmental, and self-effacing. So one of the things I have for Virgos on here, so I've only got one, I haven't got the other one, which makes me sad because I like to hold things up. But the two different books I have for this one is Jamie by L.D. Lipinski and any of the Adventures on Train series books by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman. So I thought Jamie would be a very good fit for Virgos because Jamie in this book goes out of their way to make a stand to help others. So Jamie is doing a bit of a public service by being the first person to question whether the school system they have of a boys' school and a girls' school for secondary choices is actually helping everyone. Should they be being forced to make this choice? Because where do the non-binary children go? Because that doesn't cater for any of them. So Jamie just wants their voice to be heard because no one is raising their voices around and they are feeling a bit ignored by their predicament. So for me, I really feel that this definitely explores trying to give that service to others and support others. The friendship in here is really supportive, and I just think it's a really beautiful story of affirming who you are and that your voice is worth raising, and that the friendship is so important, what makes a friendship, and also exploring sort of family, and it's just so beautifully done. So yeah, I feel this is a really nice one for Virgos because of the kind of the supporting of others that is going on here. The Adventures on Trains I feel would really kind of support Virgos because the skills that I've totally forgotten his name. The skills the protagonist has is he is an artist, and he has got sort of a photographic memory and he can see details and he can depict that in his work. And so he's got a very kind of precise eye to kind of see things, and that helps with the mystery solving. So again, this is very service orientated. He is wanting to help solve a mystery that occurs on all these different trains, and he puts his skills to the use of others. And I think both Jamie and Adventures on Trains make people question their judgments. So there is a lot of judgment that happens in Jamie and a lot of judgment that happens in some of the Adventures on Trains books about how people think about different people. Are there prejudice? Are there stereotypes? Are there wrongful accusations? So it's trying to kind of dial back that kind of judgment tendency as well for Virgos. Okay, moving on to Leo now, and the defining characteristics for Leo, and they are driven by I will. So So they are characters that shine, and they want to share that gift with everyone else. So we see Leo's in the center, shining out and helping everyone else kind of around them. So Leos are generous, confident, determined, and loyal. But they can also be arrogant, intolerant, selfish, and pretentious. So the two different books I have here are A Kind of Spark, which is a contemporary, and Amari and the Night Brothers, which is a fantasy. So Kind of Spark is by Elle McNichol, and Amari and the Night Brothers is by B.B. Alston. And I quite like that both of these have kind of got a bit of a shining light kind of theme to the covers. We've got the Kind of Spark headphones on the head of Addie here, and we have got this breaking crystal ball in front of Amari here. So the tagline for A Kind of Spark is, being different doesn't mean your voice doesn't count. So our protagonist, Addie, is autistic, and she is not, at the beginning of the story, someone that is trying to shine her light and share things with everyone, but she gets a cause. She feels really strongly when they learn about witches in class, that these were just ordinary people that were just a bit different, like her, and they were treated really cruelly and were killed for it. So she feels really determined to kind of have some sort of memorial or plaque for witches, and to kind of show to everyone that just because you're different, it doesn't mean that you should be treated like this or that you're wrong. So this strong determination that kind of takes over her brings her out to shine, and for us to see her voice, and for us to see her, and for everyone else around to kind of wake up and realize kind of how she is affected by this, and also kind of uncover how she is being treated by other people. So I just think it kind of works so beautifully with that, because Addie absolutely shines in this, and her determination to bring about justice is just fantastic to read about. And then we have Amari, and Amari again is another character that suffers from prejudice, and we just want her to shine. You can see her, she is thrust into this centre. Not everyone wants her to be the centre of attention. Amari's not sure if she wants to be, but she's going to take where she is, and she's going to use it, and she's going to be the best that she can be. And she shines, and you want her to shine, and you are willing her to shine, and you are rooting for her. And this story is so delightful. Amari's amazing. The people around her, the friendships she has, the way she is treated by other people, the things she has to go through, you just want her to succeed. And there's a wonderful magical world as well amongst all of that. Yeah, she's also very loyal, very determined, as is Addie. So I just feel these are both very good Leo books for you Leos out there. Moving on to the book choices for Cancers now. So Cancer is driven by I feel. And they really want to bring others together as a family. So the books that I have for Cancers are Frostheart by Jamie Littler, which is a fantasy, and Goodnight Mister Tom by Michelle McGurrian, which is a historical fiction and a children's classic. So Cancers are sensitive, protective, supportive, and empathetic. But they can also be clinging, dependent, suspicious, and insecure. But we're going to focus on all of those wonderful qualities, and also the concept of family. Frostheart has got one of the most gorgeous found families on this boat. Our protagonist Ash is not someone who is accepted. There is a lot of prejudice against him, and he ends up joining the Frostheart, and with this kind of whole mixture of very different characters on here. It doesn't matter your differences, you are all part of the team, and there is this really lovely found family aboard the Frostheart. And there is a lot of kind of protective feeling in here. You've got some fantastic characters like Tobu and the captain, whose name I've completely forgotten because it's been a while since I've read this. But they are really supportive. The crew is really loyal to each other. And Ash is a very sensitive, empathetic soul. And he doesn't believe that everyone is the way they are painted to be, and he does make friendships with people and choose to do things very differently. And I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it for you, but I feel this will work very well for Cancer readers. And then we have Goodnight Mister Tom, and again, this is a beautiful story of family. We have two lost souls, we have a grumpy old man, and we have a young evacuee that seems to come from a difficult home. And it's how the two bring out the best in each other and how they are very kind of supportive of each other. And particularly Mr. Tom taking on the very parental role, and he is very protective, and he's very empathetic towards the difficulties that Will has. And he really brings him out of his shell, and he slowly allows him to find his feet and to take his time and to just slowly grow and just become this adorable boy that is so robust and embracing life and has skills he never knew he had. And Mr. Tom has come back out of himself as well because of his care of Will and his kind of coming back into the world that he didn't realise how much he needed to be. So absolutely beautiful story. Love this book. And again, wonderful found family feeling and joyous especially for those cancers there. Okay, moving on to Gemini, which is my sign. And Geminis are driven by I think, and they like to collect the experience of other and attune to others. So it's exploring kind of lots of different experiences, bringing and gathering all together, and kind of like working out the best fit and how to kind of fit in with those different things. So with that in mind, Geminis are versatile, they are sociable, witty and open-minded, but they can also be inconsistent, scattered, superficial and gossipy. I definitely relate to being scattered. I'd also like to think I'm open-minded and versatile, but we will see, but definitely very scatty. So the two books I have, I don't have one of them. I don't have the High Rise Mystery by Shana Jackson, but I do have Nevermoore by Jessica Townsend. So the High Rise Mystery by Shana Jackson is a mystery, just in case you didn't know. It's a contemporary mystery, and Nevermoore is a fantasy. So with both of these, the High Rise Mystery I feel works very well for Gemini because there is a lot going on in this. There are lots of different characters. There is a kind of big community within the tower block, and there has been a murder, and that has kind of like shaken their community, and Nick and her sister are very keen to investigate and find out what has happened. So we have two sisters in here. They're not twins, but they are sisters, and they are two very different characters. So Nick is a lot more of the thinker and the one who takes in all the evidence and logics everything. And then her sister, whose name has eluded me, I'm very sorry, is very, very different. She goes with her gut. She feels things. She's very charismatic, and she will kind of like, so they very much complement each other. So her sister will kind of go in and immediately start talking to people and will kind of like throw a spanner in the works, and Nick will be observing everyone and everyone's reaction to it. So they work really, really well together. So I feel this story works very well because you've got to be open-minded to try and work out this mystery. There's a lot of different characters to kind of explore, different types of people who all live in the tower block. So they've got to have a different way of kind of like working with these different people and kind of getting in and talking to them. So I feel it works very well for Gemini in that respect. Nevermoore. One of the reasons that I recommend Nevermoore for Geminis is because one of the characters in here I feel is a very big Gemini, and that is Jupiter. So Jupiter is a part of the Wanderer Society. He is the mentor for Morrigan Crow, and he is very sociable. He is very, very talkative, and he's very witty. I find him very witty anyway. But he also is very kind of adaptable and kind of collects and thinks about different things. So one of his gifts is that he can tell, he can kind of read things. So he knows where things have been, where they've belonged to, and their kind of backstory. So I feel that links in very well with the Gemini kind of collecting the experiences and adapting to different things. And we also have two worlds with this one. We have the world that Morrigan grew up in, and then we have the secret world of Nevermoore, where she ends up going to. So you've kind of got those two different things going on there. So she's got her two different lives. But this is very much for, I just feel Jupiter North is a massive Gemini, and I thought that kind of works quite well. Okay, we're nearly there. So the next, so the penultimate star sign is Taurus. So Taurus is driven by I have and are very much about surviving and thriving. So Tauruses are dependable, patient, generous, and persistent, but can also be stubborn, self-indulgent, materialistic, and possessive. So for Tauruses, I have two things. I have got Wolf Brother by Michelle Paver, which is historical fiction with a little bit of magical realism in. And we have A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, so both Michelles here, which is a fantasy. So with Wolf Brother, this is very much about survival. This book is all about living off the forest. You know, you use everything that the forest gives you. You use the berries, you use the wood to make shelters and dens. You use the whole animal. When you make a kill, you use every single bone. You boil the fat, you collect the fat, you use the skin for different things. You use the hair, you use everything, because to not use everything is disrespectful to the animal. So, it's very much kind of like that sense of home and all the different types of home in here that it means. You've got wanderers, you've got people that settle in different places, and the forest is their home, and it's that kind of feeling of the home in here, but also the survival trait that I thought would work very well for Taurus. And you know, you have to be very patient. If you are using everything, if you are having to hand stitch all of your clothes, if you are having to build your own shelters, it takes a lot of time, and you have to be patient and you have to do it properly, because to rush things, you'll probably end up with a leaky shelter. Yeah, and the tribes very much depend on each other, and are you know, very persistent in the way they go about living their day-to-day life. You know, they have to go and make sure they've got enough food to make sure the whole tribe is well and is going to survive. We follow Torak in this, who is he hasn't got a tribe. Him and his father were just by themselves. His father is no longer around. It is just him and a wolf cub, but he falls in with other tribes, and there is kind of a mission that he ends up having to do. There is a journey, there is a mystery, there is a path for him to follow, and his persistence and stubbornness is very important to be able to accomplish those things. So with A Pinch of Magic, I thought this would work quite well for Tauruses, because again, you've got that kind of traditional family feeling in this book. You have these three sisters and their grandma, and they have always kind of lived at the Poacher's Pocket, which is the pub on this island. They are very dependable, they are very persistent, they have got each other's backs. These sisters are really supportive, and there are three very important possessions in this book that the story uses a lot. So I very much feel with this one that there is such a strong family vibe, not just with the sisters, but how they think about things and how they feel about family life and the bond of sisterhood that I think will definitely appeal to Tauruses who value that kind of homestead family feeling. I'm trying to say stuff but without giving it away. The characteristics of the characters in here, Betty in particular, she is very determined. She is very persistent to kind of see these challenges through. They are very generous with their love for each other and the way they support each other and how they go about helping each other. So yeah, good pick for the Tauruses, I feel, and a really wonderful book. And finally, we have Aries. So Aries is driven by I am, and Aries like the excitement of life. They like new beginnings. So Aries are pioneering, courageous, versatile, and passionate, but could also be insensitive, impatient, and confrontational. So the two books I have for Aries is a historical fiction, Twist of Gold by Michael Morpurgo, and fantasy, Terry Pratchett's The We Free Men. Now, this is technically a YA, but I very much feel this could be read by middle grade. I feel this would be very enjoyable by middle grade. And the protagonist is 9 in this. She is a fantastic protagonist. I feel they would enjoy the humour in The We Free Men. So I feel this can work as a middle grade as well. So I'm putting it in here. So exciting new beginnings, the pioneering feeling. Twist of Gold is all about 2 children, Annie and Sean, who have to leave Ireland and emigrate to America. So they are part of those pioneers. They are going to make a new life for themselves. They've got to be adventurous. They've got to be excited about a new beginning, regardless of how they feel, because they basically are starving and dying back in Ireland, and they want to go and follow, find their parents and find their dad out in America. So it's a long adventure. And it's the story of these 2 children and where they kind of end up, basically. So a lot of excitement on this journey for them. And The We Free Men. So I feel this kind of works in a similar way, but very differently. So our protagonist, Tiffany Aking, she is very courageous and she is very determined. And she is sort of excited about a new beginning and her chosen path. However, she's a witch, so she's not going to show that excitement. She's very grounded. It's very important for witches to know who they are and where they are. So I'd say she has restrained excitement. But she, is the type of girl that will battle a monster with a frying pan. She is the type of girl that will do what needs to be done, regardless of the cost and regardless of maybe other people wouldn't necessarily do that. Her methods might be slightly different, but she is very determined to see things through, and she very much is. She has employs a lot of headology without having been taught it. Very, very witchy, of the Terry Pratchett vibe. So she's kind of pioneering in that she's setting out learning witchcraft without any kind of instruction, and she's just kind of going for it herself with the help of these We Free Men, because her brother has been kidnapped. Her brother has been kidnapped by the fairies, so she needs to go and rescue him because that's her brother and no one is allowed to kidnap him. And so I just really feel this has that kind of beginning of an adventure, the excitement that I feel really appeal to Aries, and she's very passionate about this calling, but again it's more subdued because she's a witch. But there's also kind of she is a bit confrontational as well. So she's not going to lay down and let anyone walk over her. She is going to go and confront things head on. She is going to go and seek things out and tell you exactly what she thinks about things, and she's not going to beat around the bush about it. So I feel it will also appeal to Aries in that sense as well. So there you go. There are 24 middle grades with linking to signs of the zodiac for you. Every single one of these books is one of my favourite books. I really love them. I think the stories are brilliant. So I wouldn't be recommending anything that I didn't very much enjoy myself. So hopefully there is a range of contemporaries, mysteries, historical fiction, fantasy and sci-fi in there for you to enjoy. So yeah, please let me know if you enjoyed this, and let me know what your star sign is and whether or not you feel any of these would appeal to you, or if you've read these books and want to have a chat about them, because you know I love a chat. Happy reading, everyone.